It's Sunday night. It's 8 o'clock. It's time for the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. This is January 19, 2020. It seemed like Christmas 2 days ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. Time is just slipping by us quicker than we can even keep track of it. I want to welcome you to the Bible Forum tonight. I hope you're relaxed, laid back. We got a lot of stuff to talk about. As you know, we're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10 p.m. If you're just joining us, this is a ministry of the Alternatives Biblical Counseling and Education Incorporated. It's 501c3 corporation. We appreciate any donations. We actively submit, what do you call it? Not submit, what? Solicit help in keeping this program on the air. It does take money, sad to say. We're here every Sunday night from 8 to 10. We have a weekly email that I send out every Saturday afternoon. That's the only thing I ever send to people. Tells you what's going to be happening in the next day as we work through this. If you'd like to be on that, just shoot me an email at thebibleforum@gmail.com and we'll get you on the mailing list. Got a lot of things going on in the news this week. We know that the Senate is going to take up this issue from the House of Representatives. They're going to try to get the Senate to impeach the president. It's not going to work. I fully expect to spend several days watching them play chess and move the parts around on the board, and before long, it'll just be over. They have no heart for this. They have no desire to pursue it. They don't see the need for it. What's going to happen? I'd say it's going to be interesting, but it will be only after it's over. It won't be anything interesting happening during the thing, but the news outlets will not leave it alone. Fox is going to follow it nonstop, as well as the other cable news networks, so there won't be any stone that's left unturned. We'll talk about it next week. According to a local news website this week called Teesside Live, was reporting that a town councilor in the Yorkshire Town's local government, a fellow by the name of David Smith, asked the mayor of Middlesbrough to introduce gender-neutral washrooms in the Middlesbrough Council buildings. I believe this is in Great Britain. The names sound that way. This fellow produced a statement announcing his meetings with the mayor, reminding readers that the issue of gender-neutral toilets was part of his campaign. He explained that his interest in toilets stemmed from interactions with transgender and non-binary people in the area. He said, "Through my time interacting with local transgender and binary people, I've seen firsthand the difficulties faced by these individuals when trying to access public toilets and changing rooms. The feeling of humiliation," he says, "is an experience that most of us don't go through when visiting a public toilet. And in 2019, that's just simply unacceptable." Smith went on to state that throughout England, pubs, shopping centers, universities, schools are becoming gender neutral so that our transgender and non-binary family and friends feel safe when using those facilities. Oh, he was just arrested and charged with 9 counts of sexually touching a child. Here's the logic. I'm a man, but I dress and act like a girl. I cannot use the ladies' facilities because, well, I'm equipped with male appendages. So, I must be permitted to use the ladies' facilities. And of course, the opposite is true for women dressing like men. So here's the question. Since the laws of nature don't seem to apply, why do we have separate toilet facilities at all? Well, primarily for privacy. Secondarily, for protection. The male of the species is dangerous, especially where women are concerned, especially women disrobing in a somewhat private setting. Only 2 people in that restroom. And who's to say that man dressed like a woman is really orienting as a woman and not a wolf in sheep's clothing? Would it not be simpler and wiser to simply stop pretending that men are women and women are men? I know. There are men who really feel like women, as if they know what that is, and women who feel like men, as if they know what that is. But what if you feel like an ape? I know, that's silly. But not really. People tripping on LSD often feel like animals. Should we put them in a cage with the animals they feel like they are? They'll be more comfortable there. Yeah, until the tiger eats them. This week during the House Foreign Affairs Committee hearing, a man who lost both legs and one finger after stepping on an IED during a mission in Afghanistan for Operation Enduring Freedom asked for time to explain why Iranian General Qasem Soleimani's killing was justified. He is Representative Brian Mast. He's a Republican from Florida, and he demonstrated why Democrat criticism of Soleimani's killing, which occurred from a U.S. airstrike on January 3rd, is unfounded. He said if you walk out this hallway and you take a right and another right and around another right, you're going to come to several beautiful walls that have the names of our fallen service members from the War on Terror. And I would ask, can you, any of you, provide me one name on that wall that doesn't justify killing Soleimani? I've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. I'd be more than happy to sit here and wait. Somebody provide me with a name on that wall that does not justify his killing. After a 10-second pause, Committee Chairman Representative Eliot Engel from New York, a Democrat, instructed Mast to continue. Mast fired back, I've got 2 minutes left, and I'm going to sit here and wait for somebody to provide me with a name on that wall that does not justify the killing of Soleimani. Well, thank you, Mr. Mast. I think you've made your point, Engel replied. The Florida Republican again told Engel that he had additional speaking time remaining, to which Engel responded by accusing Mast of being out of order and disrupting the procedures. At that point, Democrat Representative Dean Phillips from Minnesota interjected to yield the remainder of his speaking time, about a minute, to Mast, allowing him to further emphasize his point. So for nearly the next 90 seconds, the hearing sat in complete silence. Not a single Democrat was able to meet Mast's challenge of naming a fallen American soldier honored on the walls just outside the committee's hearing room. At the conclusion of this time, Mast said, I will note that there was no response of one name offered that did not justify killing Soleimani. Game, set, match. Any questions? Oh, and 4 of the Trump defense team members in the upcoming impeachment trial are Ken Starr, Alan Dershowitz, Pam Bondi, and Robert Ray, lawyers who have made at least 365 weekday Fox News appearances since January 2019. That, according to Progressive Research Center, Media Matters for America. Did I mention that Dershowitz is a Democrat? It's going to be fun. The governor of Virginia is also a Democrat. The House of Representatives in Virginia is controlled by Democrats. The governor is planning to declare a temporary emergency this week, banning all weapons from Richmond's Capitol Square. Why? Well, because gun advocates have planned a large pro-gun rally to protest what the Democrat-controlled legislature is planning for this week, which is a whole bunch of control laws, gun control, and other things. The governor cites credible threats of potential violence and extremism. He's using the 2017 Charlottesville event as an illustration. That's when gun owners showed up and started a brawl. You remember that, don't you? No? No. State officials speaking with the Associated Press anonymously state the state does not have intelligence that groups are planning a specific act of violence, but said Northam has grown increasingly concerned about numerous ominous sounding postings on social media from forces outside Virginia. The official cited one posting that included a photo of an AR-15 and said there are great sight angles from certain buildings near Capitol Square. Now, the truth in all of this, ordinary citizens with guns do not start trouble. They never have, they don't. But they are around to stop trouble. The ban will also include helmets and shields. Oh, and it will not stop Republican lawmakers from regularly carrying guns into the Capitol, which they already do. It's an all-out assault against the Second Amendment. Democrats hate that piece of foundational privilege with a passion. And the reasons are many, from fear to deliberate disarmament. However, history shows that no unarmed nation is safe. Safe from what? From their own government. The world has proved it over and over and over again for generations. As we are seeing today in state after state and in Washington, there is a reason liberals and anarchists want citizens disarmed, and it's not because they fear for their safety. In Louisville, Kentucky, a former private school student's family said she was expelled for wearing a rainbow shirt and for celebrating her birthday with a rainbow cake. She did not do that on school property. It was in a restaurant. It was her 15th birthday, and high school freshman Kayla Kenny went to a restaurant with family and friends. Her mother, Kimberly Alford, note a different name, recorded a video of her daughter smiling and laughing before blowing out the candles on top of a multicolored cake, according to Wave TV. Alford said she posted the video to Facebook, which was shared with staff at her daughter's school, a Christian school, a Whitefield Academy in Louisville, Kentucky. Afterward, the school sent a letter to Kenny's family saying the 15-year-old was being expelled, effective January 6. Expelled for, quote, a continued breach of the Whitefield Code of Conduct, which was discussed in person on October 17, 2019. Now, her mother feels judged, and it's very devastating for everybody. But I want you to note that the date on the letter was October 17, 3 months after the parents and staff met to discuss Kayla's behavior. And it was Mom who bought the cake and took the pictures. You don't deal with other people's children very long before you realize it's not the child, generally, but the parents who are the problem. The school says, quote, Kayla violated our student code of conduct numerous times over the past 2 years. In the fall, we met with the parents to give her a final chance to begin to adhere to our code of conduct. Unfortunately, she has not lived up to the agreement and therefore has been expelled. Now, I personally, with the folks in our church, started a Christian school in 1980. I know a little thing about parents, even Christian parents. It was a school where we did not charge tuition. Never did. They say it can't be done. That school just closed the end of 2018-19 school year after almost 40 years of continuous service. The students in those beginning years were the ones teaching when it closed. Why did it close? lack of students. Seems parents aren't as concerned as they used to be about what their children are being taught, by whom it's being taught, and what it is they're being exposed to. Did you read about the mother in California who came to school to complain about the bullies beating up on her daughter? Now, I'm assuming girl bullies. I very rarely do I see boys beating up on girls. But it seems the bullies knew that was going to happen, and they waited in ambush outside the school. They knocked Dad down, and they beat Mom senseless. Mom spent 2 days in the hospital. That 4 months after giving birth. The question becomes, where were the school authorities? How is it these students weren't in class? Was it before school started? Not likely. But even then, where's the school authorities? Where's the police, the crossing guards? Where are the adults? You won't see a school in the Charleston, South Carolina area where I live without 2 or more police cars parked out front with all sorts of lights on, flashing, uniformed officers out front of the school as children are approaching. You gotta love California, and you gotta love progressivism.